everyone, we're back today with more Stone Ocean stuff. Today we're going to be reviewing chapters 20 to 30. And so I've got a couple horrible confessions to make. I actually am pretty positive that I know how Stone Ocean is going to end because I'm pretty sure that I've seen some pretty heavy spoilers for this part. Also, that's all there is to it. So that's kind of a bummer. It seems like this was going to be one of the most climactic parts ever. So it's a little disappointing that I got that spoiled for me, but that's okay. I'm gonna keep reading it. I'm still really enjoying it regardless. And yeah, today we're gonna be looking at chapters 20 to 30, like I said, and Deku here is actually gonna be helping us take a look at that. Oh, what's that? Oh yes, Deku wants me to say that this arc doesn't start with Jolene anymore. So chapter 20 actually brings us back with a previous character, Hermes Costello. And apparently, when she and Jolene were over at the holding jail, she actually went to the visiting room where Jolene met her lawyer. And Hermes found the little stand pendant that Jolene had thrown away. And of course, she got pricked by it. So now, fast forward to Green Dolphin Street Prison, after Hermes got pricked by the pendant or the amulet, whatever it was, she got a fever. And now she's in the medical room, and I think we all know where this is going. Hermes wakes up. She has gotten some money stolen by this janitor guy, and she wakes up, and she has a stand, obviously. She notices that she has a little pink sticker with a little black lipstick mark on it. And whenever she puts this sticker on something, the object duplicates. So let's say that I put sticker on Deku. Now I have two Dekus. Crazy. And then if I take the sticker off of Deku, the two Dekus merge together to one original Deku, except the collision from the merging damages the original Deku. So it's a pretty interesting stand. The stand's name is Kiss, and it also has a humanoid form, even though it's the sticker that does the damage, or the action. There also is also a humanoid form. It has like a crown, it has little Kiss stickers all over it. But anyway, Hermes has a stand now. So she uses this stand to sort of get back at the janitor who stole her money. She puts a sticker on the broom that he's holding in front of him. Broom duplicates. She takes the sticker off. The two brooms she made come back together, hit the janitor in the head, and when the janitor falls over, she actually sees two discs coming out of him. So apparently Whitesnake's ability doesn't just release one stand disc. It releases two discs, a memory disc and a stand disc. So Hermes actually takes the memory disc that is inside of this guy, and she looks at it, and she sees this memory of the guy going to a place where he stores stolen money. And in this memory, she also sees that Whitesnake is peering out of this little money hiding area, and Whitesnake is talking to this janitor guy. He tells the janitor guy that he likes him because the janitor is like a specific breed of evil. He's doesn't have any animosity or malicious intent, but he is evil anyway. He's the type of guy to bring other people down with him. So he's just really bad in that sense. And so this janitor guy is a guy named Thunder McQueen. And he has, we'll get to that later. So anyway, Hermes starts investigating this janitor guy, and the janitor finds out that Hermes is investigating him. So he goes to, spy on her, and he runs into her in the bathroom. And then apparently the janitor, this McQueen guy, is a prisoner there. And he's the super incel simp weirdo. He starts talking about how no one loves him, he doesn't deserve anything, and he's such a weirdo and stuff. So then he hangs himself with his belt. And then after that, Hermes has these little objects coming out of her neck, and they start strangling her. And then after that, Hermes realizes that this must be a stand ability, and it is a stand ability. Thunder McQueen's stand ability is this one called Highway to Hell, and what it does is whenever McQueen tries to kill himself, the damage that is done by that suicide attempt is inflicted onto another person. So Hermes uses some cool tactics to unhang this McQueen guy, but then they talk a little bit more. He feels sorry for himself again, and he tries to drown himself in the sink. And then the stand forms around Hermes's face, covers her face pretty much, and she can't breathe. So she has to get him out of the sink, and then she runs away. And while she's running away, she runs into the little baseball kid whose name is Emporio, and he's like, "Come with me." So she goes with him, and they go into this little crack in the wall, and they enter this little room. And why is there a room there? Where apparently it's a ghost room. And what this means is that it's a room that was there before, but that isn't. But Emporio can go into things that are no longer existing, and he can see things that are no longer existing. He can see their ghosts. So the story apparently is that I think sometime in the 80s the prison burned down, and this music room was in there, and it was destroyed, and it was never rebuilt. But Emporio can go into that room and see all the things in it because it's like a ghost of what it once was, and that's his stand ability. He has a stand ability of seeing ghost rooms and ghost objects, and he explains to Hermes the stands, how stand users are attracted to one another, things like that, and they go into the music room so that they can talk. And there's two other people in there, and from the trailers that I've seen and from the spoilers that I've seen, I'm pretty sure they are Weather Report and Anasui. So interesting. There might be Anasui. It's like a female that we see in the room, and Anasui is a male. But I think I heard somewhere that Anasui was supposed to be a female at one point. I don't know. Pretty sure. Whatever. So two characters in there. They don't talk in this. They're just sort of there in the background. Emporio does all the talking. He explains the ghost objects. He explains the stands. He explains how he's been investigating the whole, White Snake disc thing with Jolene ever since Jolene decided that she was going to go back into the prison and find White Snake and get Jotaro's stand back. So all this stuff happens, and then while they're talking, Hermes suddenly gets electrocuted. So she knows this must be McQueen trying to kill himself again. So she goes to see McQueen. He's in a chair wrapped up in like wires, and he's about to pour saline water on himself. So that the electrocution is fatal. And she's like, no way. So then he's about to electrocute himself, and she puts a sticker on him at the last second, and the electricity burns up the sticker. So the double McQueen that the sticker created merges back with the original, damages him, and just like knocks him out. And this gives Hermes the opportunity to take out his stand disc, so now he can't hurt anybody, and McQueen is defeated.
Now this is where the story starts to get interesting.
Oh, why is that, Deku? Let's tell the viewers why the story starts to get crazy now.
Because now our individual characters have been introduced and given their stands, and now we get to a new arc where Hermes and Jolene work together as a team.
So yes, just like what Deku said, we are now moving into a new arc. This previous arc had lasted 6 chapters, the Kiss Thunder McQueen arc. Now we're at a new arc. This arc is called Now There Are 6 of Us. And we're going to cover that one. So what happens in this arc is that a little bit ago, 2 prisoners had gone outside to the outside area of the prison to do some yard work or whatever. They were near this shed, and they never came back. So now the prison guards want to form a 5-person search team to go find these prisoners. So Hermes and Jolene volunteer. They want to work together to search for these people. And the prisoners are not trusted on the search team. So they're given exploding bracelets, some little Fallout New Vegas dead money references going on here. They're given explosive bracelets. And there's a supervising officer who goes with the search team. And if the prisoners get more than 50 meters away from the supervising officer, they explode.
Explosions? Bakugo would love this arc.
Yes, Deku, Bakugo would love this arc, but don't interrupt, this is important. So yeah, so the prisoner situation is pretty difficult. But Jolene and Hermes went because Jolene had actually watched Thunder McQueen's memory disc, and in that memory disc she saw a tractor, and the tractor's tire had been hollowed out and it had been filled with discs. And Jolene thought this must be where all of White Snake's stolen stands must be kept. So she wanted to go on the search in that tractor shed area to find those discs. But now it's going to be hard, separating from the group and getting to that shed. But fortunately, the search party eventually does wind up near the shed anyway. But these 2 other girls go to the shed instead of Jolene and Hermes. So it's a little bit problematic for them to achieve their goals. And then Hermes and Jolene notice that there are 6 people in the search party instead of 5. So something crazy is definitely going on. Why is there 1 more person? Is there an imposter among them? Maybe. And then to make matters worse, the supervising officer just ends up dead. And so no one knows where he is, where the body is. And if the prisoners get too far from him, they explode. So it's really worrisome situation. So there's an imposter, a dead supervising guard, and the imminent threat of explosives. And then suddenly this one prisoner's bracelet starts beeping, and she explodes. And it's this green-haired prisoner, which is weird because I've seen her in the trailers, and I'm pretty sure she's supposed to be a major character. So I don't know why she's dead. It's a little confusing, but anyway, that's irrelevant for the time being. I'm sure there's an explanation. But anyway, this prisoner, Etra, was dead, and now Jolene and Hermes are super suspicious because they want to find out who's the imposter. And then suddenly Hermes is attacked by these little plankton from in the nearby marsh area. And then there's these little microscopic plankton, but they can clump up and form like a humanoid plankton. And then, as it turns out, all the girls in the search party, I guess except for the green-haired one, were actually formed by the plankton. No, I think what happened was that the plankton formed the sixth like girl and then sort of took over the bodies of the other ones. So it's a pretty evil plankton, and it's a stand. It's a stand called Foo Fighters, and then yeah, so it's kind of crazy what's going on, and it's this pretty crazy fight. And Foo Fighters drags Hermes into the water to like kill her, but then Jolene makes a cool bridge across the marsh water with her string and saves Hermes. But now Foo Fighters can split into like two versions of itself. So now one Foo Fighter stand humanoid is going to the shed with the discs to like get rid of them, and the other Foo Fighter humanoid thing is pulling the body of the supervising officer away from Jolene and Hermes in the opposite direction. So Hermes and Jolene can't go towards the discs because if they go towards the discs, then they'll get too far from the supervising officer and they'll explode, and it's crazy. And that's where chapter 30 ends. So what did I think about these 10 chapters? Well, obviously I like them a lot. There's some really cool stands that were being introduced. I think Thunder McQueen's stand was interesting, and he was also a really interesting character. The design of him with the M in his hair was cool, and overall, just him being a super incel simp was kind of unexpected. I don't think we've ever had a character in Jojo who is like that. And it's interesting because it seems like Araki was taking the opportunity with this McQueen guy to sort of condemn that personality type, which I don't think is something that I see done very often in media. So it's cool that Araki did that. In the description of McQueen himself, Araki, like, just blatantly, no sugarcoating, just says that Thunder McQueen thinks everyone hates him, thinks that society hates him because he can only think about himself. So that's like, no sugarcoating, just saying this guy is definitely the problem, which is true. And so it's interesting that Araki did things that way, introduced that kind of character and called him out, rightfully so in that way. It was interesting. And the stand is pretty interesting too. It's like exactly the kind of stand that a person like him would have. And Whitesnake's description of that was pretty accurate. He's a different breed of evil. Or maybe it's not intentional, but he is dragging people down with him in a pretty evil way. And so yeah, it's just an interesting character, definitely unique, and Araki is good with unique stuff like that, I think. And then Foo Fighters is also very interesting. I like the design of the overall humanoid plankton, and just the concept of what it can do is also very interesting. The plankton clumping up to form one big one, and it's also just it's a stand but without a stand user. And there's also like a little description of exactly how that works, or not how that works, but how Foo Fighters itself sees that idea of him being a stand without a user, and he says it in a pretty smart and intelligent way.
Yes, a pretty smart and intelligent way indeed.
Whoa, Tokuyami, what are you doing here? What? When did you get here? I thought Deku was helping out.
I killed Deku. I used my stand Dark Shadow to kill Deku, and now I'm the one who's going to be helping you make these Stone Ocean reviews.
Alright, well that's kind of awful that you did that. Now I have to buy another Deku Funko Pop. Whatever, I guess you can help out. So, what was it that you wanted to say about the Foo Fighters?
Yes. I wanted to explain Foo Fighters' concept of itself because I also find it very interesting. Foo Fighters says, and I quote, "It is wrong to assume, even statistically speaking, that organisms spontaneously appeared on this earth. There is a pre-existing intellect of cosmos that designed the origins of life forms. So, it can be said, that intellect preceded even the Big Bang, and that every organism and matter itself is guided by intellect, and is a part of a larger intelligence." Essentially, Foo Fighters is saying that anything can have intelligence, because intelligence predates what we see as intelligent life. So it's an explanation of why a plankton, a stand, has sentience and intelligence. And these ideas are taken by Fred Hoyle, an astronomer. It is very interesting and educational indeed.
Thank you, Tokuyami. So yeah, like Tokuyami said, this is a really interesting way of explaining what Foo Fighters is. And like it's another one of those examples in Stone Ocean of Araki explaining a stand in a complex and like I guess intelligent way, when he really didn't have to. You know, if Araki just gave me a stand without a user that is a sentient plankton, I wouldn't have questioned it because, you know, this is Jojo and worse things have happened, weirder things have happened. But he did explain it, and he explained it in a very clever way using references to like real people. And it just shows that I guess Araki is educated and he knows a lot of things, and he puts a lot of effort into how he explains things. Even if it's like something new that like brings a new form, a new fact into the continuity of the universe, it's just interesting to make sense. And it's just a really cool and effortful way of explaining things, and I like that. I like it a lot. And I also think Emporio was like the coolest kid ever. I really like his character. You know, he's sort of like the guiding figure, the master, the mentor, even though he's easily the youngest member of the group. He's really cool. He knows a lot about the stands already. He has that really interesting stand of his own that allows him to see things and experience things that others don't. And it's just really cool. I really like his character, and I like how he's sort of guiding Hermes and Jolene through their quest. He's a really cool guy. And on the topic of Emporio's stand, I really like the way it's shown. You know, when he goes into the ghost room, there are some ghost objects that he can use, that everyone in the room can use, but they can't really fully use them. For example, there's an orange juice that they can drink, but the juice just falls through them because they can't actually drink it. They can only sort of taste it. And the same goes for a chocolate Mars bar that's there. They can like put it in their mouth, taste the chocolate, but they don't actually eat it. And there's also a gun they can shoot, but it can't actually kill any actual living things. So it's a very interesting concept, and I like seeing it, and it makes me a little jealous. I wish I could see ghost objects, because if I could get my hands on like a Mars bar and then put it in my mouth and taste the chocolate and then not actually eat it, I think that'd be incredible, because you know, then you can just eat whatever you want whenever you want, as long as it's a ghost object. You know, if you want to eat like a Popeye's chicken sandwich and then some ice cream and then some soda and then some chocolate, you can do all that and taste all of that, but then you don't do anything unhealthy to your body. And it's kind of amazing, and I wish that were real, but it isn't. But it's really interesting overall. Just really cool stuff, I think. And as a character, I really like Hermes too. You know, like I said with Jolene is very energetic and loud and fun to read as, and Hermes is very much the same way, I think. And there's even like a bit of a funny section in the whole McQueen arc, even as morbid as that arc is with all the McQueen killing himself and stuff. There's a part that's like a little funny, I think. McQueen is talking about how, well, when Hermes saves him from hanging himself, he starts talking about how, well, he doesn't deserve that, but he's so indebted to her now because she saved his life. And then Hermes gets all cute and like she's blushing. She's like, "Oh, you owe me my life. I wouldn't know about that." And then she's like all cute and stuff. And then she looks around. She takes a second to look around. He's not there. And then she sees he's like drowning himself in the sink, and she starts like screaming at the top of her lungs. And you know, fair enough. I mean, I would scream in that situation too. But you know, she's like very loud and energetic, I think. And it's just like situations like that. Like it's just funny, I think. And she's fun to read as, and she's like relatable and stuff. And she's just a cool and fun character, I think. And overall, like I said, just this JoJo story is very fun. The characters are fun to read as. They're great, they're perfect. And I'm really enjoying it. Very nice. So yeah, those were my thoughts for chapters 20 to 30. I'm really liking it. I want to see what happens with this Foo Fighters character and with that green-haired prisoner who died, Etro, because I'm not really sure how she's going to come back and be a character. But it is interesting. I'm really liking it. I'm really liking these chapters. I'm really liking the story as always. It's very exciting. Hermes and Jolene are both great to read as. Hermes is very interesting, very fun, very energetic, very, you know, fighty, very cool stuff overall. Great characters, great story. I'm loving it. Deku is dead though. I looked around. I can't find the Funko Pop anywhere. I don't know where it went. I would kill Tokigami Funko Pop, but I cannot find him well priced anymore. So I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna buy another Deku if I can find one. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you want to. And yeah, I'll be back with more Stone Ocean reviews ASAP.